Hey everyone, how's it going? I hope you're doing well. I'm doing well because today we are talking about music and today we're doing some July 2026 pickups. I got some great records, got some good CDs, and it's all really, really great stuff. I'm excited to get into it with you. Previous videos I've mentioned, I've been kind of curating my collection more, getting rid of stuff that I feel, someone else might love more in their collection, adding some new stuff to mine. And it's been really good to have that, not literally one in, one out, but that sort of mindset of, what am I adding? Is there something I could swap out with that? So with that, let's get into the records. I'm pretty pleased with all of these. This one, it's out of the wrap. It's on the turntable currently, but this is No Telling Lies from Zebra. This is their, oh, I should have looked it up. I think it's their second or third kind of hard rock album. There you go. There's the three guys there. If you're not familiar with Zebra, think a little bit like Rush, but a little more AOR influence. But Rush, we do have those kind of high-pitched vocals. We have that sort of hard rock of the era as well. But add in a bit more of that AOR influence. This album in particular, I feel like the keyboards are sort of amped up more than the earlier releases, which I enjoy. But No Telling Lies, it's a great album from Zebra. I know. Next up, this is my first Byrds album. Back in the day, I had like a Best of the Byrds. I'm familiar with the Byrds, but I've never actually owned any of their albums. So I went to trade in a few kind of some records at one of my local shops, and they had this one there for quite a good deal. Or trade in value. So I thought, yeah, let's go for it. This is actually the Byrds by the Byrds, and this is their last album. So on this one, you have Roger McGuinn, you have Gene Clark, you have Chris Hillman, you have Michael Clark. I think that's all. David Crosby, obviously, as well. And a lot of people critique this album saying, obviously a lot of these people were involved in other projects at the time, so they took some of the other songs they had, in their back catalog and sort of put them on here. And I get that. You can hear that, certainly, I think more so on the second half, but there are a lot of strong tracks on here. In particular, Full Circle, I think, is really strong. Sweet Mary is also really, really strong. I do think it's a really good album. I think they've got other stuff that's a little more questionable in the catalog. I think this is a really good, solid effort. And I do find it interesting that if I'm going to start this Bird's journey, I'm starting with the last album, but there you go. And then the final kind of vinyl pickup that we're going to take a look at is by two names. You could think of it as Atomic Rooster by Atomic Rooster. Really, it's their second album, Death Walks Behind You, which is there as well. So I think when this was debuted in the States, I think it was self-titled, but really it's their second one, Death Walks Behind You. Seminal, heavy prog rock, great album, great album. Same thing, just starting that journey. The band I've listened to streaming many, many times, but excited to actually have that in my collection as well. Now we're getting into the CDs. These three here, I've got even more that we'll get into, but these next three were part of the same trade where I got those albums as well. So starting out, April Wine, Greatest Hits Live, 2003. I've given this a few listens now. And this is just a great recording of, it's exactly that. Their greatest hits recorded in 2003 in Toronto. I don't think it's all on one date. I think it's over 2 or 3 dates. And I think even one of them said Montreal. So there we go. But in Toronto, plus a few bonus tracks as well. I just said all that about when it was recorded. I could be wrong on that, but great album. If you know April Wine, it's fantastic. This next one, I've been getting into the Laurel Canyon scene lately, obviously through some of that Bird stuff, Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, kind of exploring those elements as well. And I thought, I should get sort of the heavy hitters from that. So I've gotten Love Forever Changes. They're right there. And this is a really fun edition. I wasn't, I've heard this album before, and I wasn't, super keen. Did I want to add it? But this edition, it's one CD, but it's got 6 bonus tracks on it. So alternative mixes, tracking session highlights, stuff like that. Plus a really nice kind of essay and pamphlet in there that has a lot of more details about the band. So I think when you're sort of learning about a music scene, kind of getting into that, these kinds of releases and these kinds of albums are really helpful. So, Love isn't necessarily my favorite of that scene, but really seminal, really important as well. And then the last kind of trade-in I got was I think this is the fourth album from the Mahavishnu Orchestra, Visions of the Emerald Beyond. Previously, I've only had their debut, but I love it. And I thought I should kind of get at least sort of the first handful of albums in their catalog. I know they kind of venture off in the future, but those first kind of batch of them are fantastic. Now, these next CDs and these next albums I picked up, where I was visiting some family recently in July as well, and I was just looking at their CD collection just to put something on and see what they had. And they said, "Oh yeah, and feel free to take any, if there's something there, run it by me." I thought, really? I hadn't prepared to take anything with me, so I only grabbed a couple because obviously I, space for me and them because really, I don't want to take everything. So I just grabbed a few things. The first being the Beach Boys' Pet Sounds, the classic. And same thing, I've never, beyond the greatest hits, I've never actually owned a Beach Boys album. I'm very familiar with the hits, as are all of us, but I was really wanted to get into the Beach Boys in a way where you hear their deep cuts, you hear the tracks you don't always hear. And Pet Sounds is fantastic from start to finish. This particular version is from 2001. It has the entire album plus a bonus track in both in mono first, and then it cuts to stereo. So this CD is 27 tracks, but it's just 14 and then 14 again in stereo. So there's their album in stereo mono. Next up, so I guess technically it's 11 albums, but it's one of those essentials packs, which I'm a big fan of. I have a Django Reinhardt collection as well that I really appreciate. And same thing, these are two jazz albums. So very potentially when I said that, I'll see the views drop, but who knows. Jazz, it's one of those snow globe genres. There's so many snow globe artists where, I mean, if you're on the outside of that snow globe, it can seem intimidating getting into it. Where do you start? How do you start? Do you even want to go down that? And these album collections, album series are great ways to actually kind of go about that. And if you want to get, those albums proper, later in a bigger format or something, you can, or you can kind of take these with the release that you do get and kind of build it out from there. So the first one we'll take a look at is Miles Davis, 5 Essential Original Albums. Here's the packaging there. And it's the entire track listing on the back. So the albums you do get are Roundabout Midnight, Miles Ahead, Porgy and Bess, Kind of Blue Continued, and then Sketches of Spain. Again, fantastic albums. Roundabout Midnight I gave a listen to last week. It was so good. And with these packages, and this is true of all of them, they're fairly bare bones, but they're not nothing, You do get some artwork in there behind the CDs, but you're not going to get any kind of about information there. And the last one, 6 essential albums from John Coltrane. Very similar packaging style there. So these 6 albums you get are Blue Train, Giant Steps, Soul Train, Ole Coltrane. These are fantastic. My Favorite Things and Africa Brass. Again, so this is 11 albums from arguably 2 of the biggest masters in jazz. So if you're trying to get into an artist or even a genre and you're not really sure where to start, I can't recommend these types of collections enough. Sometimes people, especially collectors, might put down them or put down greatest hits. I don't feel like that. I think if you're into the artists and that's kind of what gets you a bit more into them, then that's great. And if you get even a greatest hits and you really enjoy it and you want to go get more, mission accomplished then, right? Like why are we putting down greatest hits? But with all that, I'm just really pleased with all these kind of additions because a lot of them are very foundational, seminal works. Some of them are sort of filling out my collection as we're going. So just having that, not a literal one in, one out mindset, but that idea of, am I building a library? What am I actually collecting here, and why am I actually collecting here? And that's been really good, I think, to have that mindset. But with that, I love chatting about music. If you have opinions on, your own recent pickups or what I have picked up, please share them in the comments down below. And otherwise, I will see you next time. Bye.